Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some of the stocks on the move today. With us is Bloomberg News equities reporter and deputy team leader for U.S. equities, Carmen Reinecke. She is in the house. We're going to start with a big chip name.
Yeah, Intel. I mean, there's been a lot of Intel news lately, and today, is no exception. This is ticker INTC. Shares spiked, and they're up about 5.5% today after a report that the company is in early stage talks to add AMD as a customer at its factories. So, as I said, this is the latest in a string of deals that have boosted Intel shares. The last few months, they have gained support from the White House, which is taking, I think, roughly 10% stake, NVIDIA, and SoftBank. And we also, Bloomberg News had a report last week that it's also in talks for backing from Apple. So all of these things have been really liked by investors. We've seen the stock really spike.
Yeah, and it's really just taken off this year, up 76% year to date. As Tim and I always say, when we go to the HDS function on the Bloomberg and we realize, oh yeah, that's right, the U.S. government is the third biggest investor in the company.
Yep.
Not the only one that the U.S. government is an investor in, of course. We'll talk about some of those a little later, including Lithium Americas. But I want to draw everybody's attention to Peloton, out with some new gear and some new prices today. What's going on?
Yeah, so Peloton, ticker PTON, PTON. Shares are down 6.6% today. This is the worst day since August 19th. So they're raising prices on both hardware and membership fees and doing a big sort of product overhaul. So I think the stock's probably reacting most to the increased prices. But there are also going to be new versions of the Bike Plus, Tread Plus, and a new Row Plus, as well as, some new sort of features on the hardware. This is interesting because they have a newer CEO, Peter Stern, who came from Apple and Ford, and he's really been working to turn around the company. It's had quite like a few years of sort of declining sales. The stock hasn't been doing super well. In August, it had to cut about 6% of its staff and projected full year revenue would drop 2% for fiscal 2026. So, this is sort of the first step in like a potential turnaround for the company. So interesting to see that investors so far are not happy with what they've come out with.
All right, Reddit, we go. RDDT.
Yeah. So
what is going on with Reddit?
It was a little bit of a head scratcher this morning. Shares are down 12%. This is the worst intraday drop since April 4th, which is kind of big if you think about what was happening in April. So huge drop for Reddit. So what it seems like is happening is that there is third-party data that's been going around on social media showing a drop in citations from OpenAI. So Reddit, it's been used by sort of these large language models to help train them. So analysts,
that was a big part of, I thought, the IPO, right? And the value of the company, that all of the data and the very specific data that it could provide to AI companies and others.
Exactly. And so I think that's why the stock is reacting negatively to this. There's also been a few analysts that have written about it. So Bloomberg Intelligence's Mandeep Singh shows that this decline is, it really signals Reddit's exposure to search engine traffic. This might have been because a little bit of a switch in Google's algorithm. And how a lot of its, traffic and daily active user growth really hinges on use from these sort of chatbots. Brad Erickson at RBC also had attributed sort of this stock weakness to this. And this is something that he's been watching for the last few weeks, showing that, the citation share on ChatGPT has gone down significantly.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.